Welcome back to the Crypto Knowledge Alliance. It's me, Jimbo, and we are here again doing Crypto Live. This is the second video we're making, one yesterday. Nice to see that we have some people subscribed to the channel. We've got a few likes on the video, and that's really nice. You know, it's good to see that the content's reaching people. If you enjoy this sort of content and you want to see more, give us a like or subscribe. You know, hit the bell icon, do whatever you got to do to see more of this. Hopefully, you know, if you have a chance to get involved with the alliance, it's going to help you too. I'm going to start with a normal disclaimer as always. You know, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just calling things as I see them, and you know, doing what I'm doing. So you know, take it as a pinch of salt. Do your own research. It is what it is. Now, I want to try and keep these videos reasonably similar format. So today we're going to start with the daily chart on Bitcoin, just like we did yesterday. Now you'll notice that the chart I've drawn here is slightly different to yesterday, and what I've changed about it is I've changed the upper and lower resistance and support lines here to be red and green. As you can see, you've got the green and the red. Now the reason I've done this is I just want to show more people, if you don't really understand what's going on in the charts here, I've just put the colours on there to say if we break this line with good volume, we expect this movement. So here we've got the red support line. We know that if we break that with strong volume and we have a big candle close below that support line with good volume, then we're likely to see a break downwards. And if we break the lower downwards trending resistance, which is the green line, with good volume, we're likely to break to the upside. And you can see that happening here. We broke the green line and with nice support, and here we go pushing up, and again we broke the downwards trending resistance here, the green line with nice volume, and we had a nice pump again. Okay, obviously as I described yesterday, we've got this longer formation forming here from mid-November. To me it looks like it's forming to be a horizontal triangle. It could also be a symmetrical triangle, which is slightly more bullish. However, I think it's important that we wait to see how any formation plays out before we act on it. I wouldn't want to call this either bullish or bearish just yet, because the truth is we just haven't seen how the price action is going to play out. What we're waiting to see, just similar to these downwards trending wedges, is we're looking to see a volume break out of one of these lines. Nice strong volume break to the upside, and we could see this breakout nice and bullish. If we see a volume break to the downside past the red resistance line, then we can anticipate further drops. Okay, so that's that bit covered. What else am I seeing here on the one-day chart? Well, there's a few things happening. On a bit of a more micro scale, we look at just what's happened in the last couple of days. We're seeing this nice big pump up from the day, from the break of that wedge, about 12% gain we had there, and we've sort of been trending sideways since then. Formed reasonably big red candle today. That's on Coinbase. I think we went from about 3,640 down to 3,590, so it doesn't represent a huge drop. It is, of course, that 3,600 broken, and in my opinion all sort of double zero areas are mental break lines for people, you know, supports, because supports and resistance at zeros, that's what that's my opinion. I could be wrong, but I think if you look back over its history, when it tends to break a round number, it tends to go either way. So let's just, you know, keep an eye on it. Could easily finish above 3.6 again by the end of today, and you know, this candle will virtually not matter. What else is happening here? Look, we've got our RSI is now pointing downwards for the first time since before the pump. Now this is based on the price action now. Remember, this part of the RSI is formed on today's candle, and it's the same with the stochastic RSI here. This is formed based on the price action right now. Now this could change. If this candle all of a sudden pumped green, we might see the RSI pump up and the stochastic RSI not quite have this peak. But as it is, and as this candle plays, this is what we've got. So we'll be watching to see how it develops. Watching the stochastic RSI come over like that and start to trend downwards is not good in the short term. You know, you can see here what happens when the stochastic RSI turns, and if it is indeed going to turn, if it's dramatic and it comes down, you see these, you know, these decreases with that. You know, sometimes it doesn't come down quite so dramatically, but it still comes down. Important to remember that the stochastic RSI is a trend indicator. This isn't going to tell you how high or how low it's going to go. It's just going to give you an idea of which direction it's looking to travel in. So yeah, so that's worth watching on the 1 day. Now we'll just take a little look at the 4 hour and see if any more of this makes any more sense on a smaller scale. Here we have what's forming at the moment. So here's our nice increase from the 8th of February, when we had that nice 10-12% gain. And since then we've been forming this channel. We've had a little bit of a spike out of it and back down again. Now, to me, this looks like it could be forming a bull flag. Now, again, it just looks like that. We cannot guarantee that until we have a breakout. So we're watching this green line, we're watching this red line, and we're waiting for a really nice volume candle that breaks up and continues. As you can see here, we've had a break through it. Didn't have enough volume, and it's almost like a bull trap. You know, people are thinking, oh, we're going up, and then, you know, look, we've got an engulfing red candle which is taking it out. So we'll be keeping an eye on this zone to see if it breaks above or below. What else have we got here on the 4 hour? RSI slowly coming down. It's to be expected. We've seen that on the 1 day chart that it's trending downwards, so that's worth a good look at. You know, we're still above 50, which is nice. We'd like to see a bounce of 50. You know, about this level here, you can see it's been a bit of a resistance before around the 50 level. You can see a lot of action there on the RSI line. So, you know, if it bounces off there, that's a nice sign. If we don't even get that far low, even better. Stochastic RSI in the 4 hour. Now we're looking at something a little bit more interesting here, because we have bottomed out on the 4 hour, which, you know, it tends to mean that if you get the crossover, the positive crossover, which we're just about seeing, but, you know, this isn't a strong positive crossover yet, because you can see it sort of flatlining and crossing. What we really want to see is this start going up diagonally, and like it has done here, and that'd be a nice indication. Or here, you know, or here, you know, you can see it all over the place. But even here, that's a really strong indication. But you're looking for that to see the trend start going back up again. Worth watching on this bull flag as well, because if this ticks up strong and it looks like it's got some real momentum behind it, we really could see this push up. And then, of course, we'll be looking to see if we can test our downwards trending resistance, the green line. And you know, I might not have it drawn absolutely perfectly. You have to remember that. But it's so, you know, I've got it around here at about 3,700. So a break through that would be extremely bullish. In the mid, you know, short to mid term. You know, it doesn't all of a sudden mean the Bitcoin bear market is over by any stretch, but it means that we might see a little bit more upside movement in the mid term. And finally, we'll have a quick look at the 1 hour and just see what's happening on a lower time scale. So yeah, it's the same again, really. You can see it bouncing between the support and the resistance that we've put in there. It's, you know, the range is tightening, and it's interesting as well if you're not used to seeing these sort of patterns. You know, when these ranges tighten, you can even maybe straighten this out. But when these ranges are tightening, what we're seeing is we're seeing the Bitcoin and the price of Bitcoin, or the price of anything really. This applies to all markets and all charts. But once we see this this zone actually getting tighter and tighter, we're looking for a breakout. It's being forced. It's almost like it's being forced into a tighter alleyway. Eventually, it has to bounce out either way. I like to think of it as a trampoline and a net. You know, you see these sort of wicks. When you're on a trampoline, you bounce down, and if you're looking at a trampoline horizontally on, you might see it dip. And then as it springs back up and someone hits the net at the top, they might, you know, disrupt the net, but they're coming back down again. And that's what's happening right now. We're being bounced between, or maybe you can call it a rock and a hard place, whatever you like. But it's a tightening range, and we'll have to keep an eye on that range. It'd be good for us to determine. It's even tradable potentially, if that's what you're into. If you're into BitMEX or something like that, you're probably watching this thinking, well, get a nice confirmed breakout, there might be a trade on the cards. Similar to how we saw this this wedge form down here on the small scale. There's a bit too many lines on here, but you saw it break out, and if you were watching that formation, you were waiting for that breakout to make that long trade and ride it up. Okay, so I think that's probably enough for Bitcoin for today. We know where we're at. It's been pretty sideways for the day. We'll keep an eye on it and update next time. Okay, so let's go on to CoinMarketCap now and have a look, see what's going on. Right, so okay, CoinMarketCap. Let's go back to the home page. Being a little bit slow today, I do apologise. Okay, alright, so let's have a look across the top 100, just briefly scan across. Yeah, pretty much a mixed bag across know, no huge moves. On the top 100, you've got some red, some green, nothing, you know, major going on. Huobi token taking 13.8. That's nice. Remember, that's profit against USD, so always have to take that into account. Whether you're, you know, you always got to think: are you trading against the dollar or the pound, or are you trading to accumulate Bitcoin? Because if you're trading to accumulate Bitcoin, I suggest you come here, you change this to Bitcoin. Often the percentage changes aren't going to be huge, but it gives you a better scale of how things are actually doing against Bitcoin, rather than how their USD value is being affected. Because remember, when Bitcoin moves, the market moves, so we've got to watch that. So let's just go down just for comparison there. So here's Huobi token that we were just looking at, and it was 13.8, and here against Bitcoin we're looking at a 14.06% rise. So it's, you know, it's almost not a huge amount different there, but it can be depending on Bitcoin's daily price action. So worth looking at. Okay, so what have we got here? We've got a market cap of 121 billion, which is pretty much the same as yesterday. We know that because Bitcoin's barely moved. 24-hour volume of just shy of 21 billion, which is, you know, that's nice, not too bad. That's healthy movement for current market. And 52.8% Bitcoin dominance, which is 0.1% down on yesterday. So, you know, at the moment, not particularly worth mentioning. We'll have a look at it again on the charts. Let's go into the market cap chart here. I think this is interesting. What you learn in this chart, it's good to see, because what that thing at the top of the ticker gives you there is Bitcoin's dominance. What you don't see is the dominance of the other top currencies. Now, if you come here into market cap and drag your browser down, you will come across a chart eventually. Okay, but what's going to appear here is a chart. Here it is. That shows you Bitcoin dominance here in orange, and it also has a few of the other top cryptocurrencies market caps overlaid on this chart, as well as all the rest lumped into others. Okay, so so we can see what's going on here a bit better with the whole space. Now let's bring this down into a bit of a smaller time frame. Maybe we'll just look at sort of 2019-ish time. Coin market cap's being pretty slow today, so yeah, 10th of January onwards, that'll be okay for now. That gives us the last month when it loads. Now, the reason I've drawn your attention to this chart is because today you might have noticed, or it might have been some point yesterday, I can't remember exactly, but you might have remembered, you might have seen that Ethereum has retaken the second place on CoinMarketCap. That means its market capitalization has increased beyond Ripple's and is now taken back the second place. You can see here, Ripple's the light blue, Ethereum's our darker blue, and you can see Ripple's been above it for some time now, and just in the last day or so we've gone from Ethereum being in third place to overtaking Ripple just by a little bit. You can see there, Ethereum 10.47 and Ripple 10.33. So Ethereum has taken its second place back. I'm sure that there are plenty of people in the Ethereum communities that would be very happy to see that. It's positive to see your token regaining the second place, of course. Yeah, so from there we will move over and have a very quick look at today's gainers and losers. Now I'm going to do this slightly different than I did yesterday, because as I said, yesterday I just did gainers and losers against USD. I think it's good to see it against Bitcoin as well, but let's start with USD. And okay, so what have we got? As I said yesterday, I try and discount anything particularly low volume because I just don't really see a lot of value in it. Solve up 29% with almost $2 million. ABBC coin up 25.26%. With almost $14 million worth of volume. Now this is interesting because if you watched yesterday, you will have seen that ABBC coin was on the other side of the list as one of the daily big losers. So what we've formed there is a bit of a bounce for ABBC coin. Let's see if we can have a quick look at that on the chart here and just see how that's visually represented and see what we can learn from that, really. You know, maybe not a great deal. We might just see that it's had a good it's dropped down, but you know, there's good support there, so it's come back up. Let's have a look at the 7-day chart. That's going to give us a good visualization of what's going on here. Oh, and as you can see, there we go. So we had this big drop off that we were talking about in yesterday's video, and it may put it into the top losers, and then we've had a nice V-shaped correction from that, and it's really bounced up. Be interesting to see where that goes from here. Haven't done a lot of research on ABBC coin yet, so I don't want to give you any fundamental analysis because I just don't know. Does look like the volume's lowering there a little bit. Be interesting to see if it comes back down or not. Maybe we'll have a look at that in the next video and see where it's gone from there. What else have we got up? Significant Huobi token. We saw that one on the top 100, so 13% up with almost 17.6 million. That's good volume on the day for Huobi. Metal token up 11.59% on 7 million, which is again quite nice. We've got on the losers. We've got so that's an interesting one. Much lower volume here, and especially considering yesterday. This had had a look at this yesterday as it was on the biggest gainers. It was a much bigger volume and it pumped much higher. Now we've got a low volume that's actually become one of the biggest losers. So interesting again to see that that's been on the top list and now it's back here and it's got a big retracement again. We've got Game.com again in the biggest losers. That was in there yesterday, so that's not a good couple of days for Game.com. And that's an interesting one to look at is ARK. ARK was one of the biggest gainers on the day yesterday, so naturally, as any big push does, we've had a little bit of a retracement here, and it's come back down 10.8%. If you're into ARK, maybe you're looking for an entry at the moment whilst it's dropped back down. I don't know. You tell me in the comments below. If you're in ARK, let me know. Grin down again, Ravane. Normal market movement. What we're used to seeing. Few larger movements here and there, but nothing massive. Then we're just going to quickly flick it over to BTC and see if that changes much on the chart. Again, like I said the other way, you might find something a bit different. Nothing significantly has changed there. A lot of it's pretty much how it was. But always worth looking at Bitcoin and USD. Remember, what are you trading in? Are you trading in dollars or are you trading in Bitcoin? Personally, I do a bit of both, but for me, it is mainly I'm trading. Mainly I'm trading against Bitcoin. I'm looking to accumulate Bitcoin. Okay, so right on to the next thing. And we'll go on and have a look at some news for the day right about now. We're going to start with, let's have a look. I'm not sure if this was a story I had prepared or just Cointelegraph. That's just Cointelegraph. Okay, so the first story of the day that we've got is for Philippines. A couple of the major banks in the Philippines have released a two-way crypto ATM. Now again, if you watched yesterday, you're going to know that I spoke about the Argentina story with Sub adding Bitcoin as a payment method for public transport. Again, these sort of things, these are the stories that we want to hear. It's incrementally increasing the adoption so that when people do want to get involved in Bitcoin, the ability for them is there. And these ATMs that are going out across the world, they're excellent, to sell Bitcoins across the kiosk. This is excellent for the community, for the whole space, because you're going to see adoption when people start getting interested again. All of a sudden they have a much easier on-ramp, and that's really good, really, for adoption. Okay, so on to the second news story. This news story is regarding the US SEC. Now, they have come out with their dedicated ICO guide. Now this is interesting because there's a lot of people who are looking for regulatory bodies to step in and give a bit of clarity on what can and can't be done, and we all know there's been a lot of conversation regarding ICOs and whether they have securities value in the US and this and that. So there's a lot of people who may or may not have been wanting to get involved in ICOs because they just didn't know where they stand. This is the part that I wanted to read out to you. It's companies and individuals are increasingly considering initial coin offerings as a way to raise capital or participate in investment opportunities. While these digital assets and the technology behind them may present a new and efficient means of carrying out financial transactions, they do also bring increased risk of fraud and manipulation because the markets for these assets are less regulated than the traditional capital markets. Now, if you're involved in this space, you've been here for a while, you know that. And you also know that that's probably one of the reasons that, you know, that's halting the crypto space's progression at the moment. There's a lot of people who are going to be on the sidelines waiting to have these regulations in place so they know where they stand, so when they throw their money into a project they don't risk losing it all in some big fraud or scam. This is the sort of thing that the market needs. It's how it matures, it's how it's going to be adopted. Now the last news story for the day, a little bit less positive, but it runs on here from the idea of the fraud and the manipulation, and we take it over here and you can see that there's been a fake MetaMask malware on Google Play. Now if you use MetaMask, you know that it is a way of it's a wallet for your ERC20 tokens. It's a way to transact your ERC20 tokens. Now if you don't know what ERC20 tokens are, I'm surprised you made it to this point in the video, but it's they are the tokens built on the Ethereum platform. Now they're describing this malware as a clipper, and they're saying that the malware itself, its primary purpose is to steal the victim's credentials and private keys to gain control over the victim's Ethereum funds. However, it can also replace a Bitcoin or Ethereum wallet address copied to the clipboard with one belonging to the attacker. Now I'm using this story here. We know that these things are out there. A lot of people are aware that these sort of malware drops exist. But what I just want to remind you here is, you know, when you are sending your cryptocurrency around, if you're transacting between exchanges, wallets, whatever it happens to be, you're sending it to someone else, just make sure you check the address over and over and over again. You know, it's worth reading out and checking every digit of the address if it saves you losing your hard-earned money or crypto when you send it because someone's changed the address, or you've slightly typed it in wrong, or whatever it happens to be. So that's just to keep people aware. Stay on your toes, make sure that you're in control of your assets. That's always important. Be in control of your assets. And that's mainly most of the news that I wanted to look at today. Just have a look back, make sure Bitcoin hasn't moved. No, it's still about 3,000, not 3,590, so hasn't moved much at all. Now, if you made it to this point in the video, great. I presume that you probably enjoyed the content. So yeah, you know, get involved. Give us a subscribe, give us a like. We've got a link at the bottom there to our Telegram group. It's a chat group there. We've got, you know, a lot of knowledgeable heads within the space in there. We've got people in there who are sharing their knowledge and their experience. We're just, you know, we haven't got a huge amount of numbers yet. It's just starting. But what I can tell you is the people who are in there are experienced people within this sector, within the market. And, you know, it's an alliance. We're here to help each other. Come and get involved. Yeah, okay. Well, until next time, see you later, guys.